We're continuing our discussion on the slavery that we all are going through. And it's so tricky that we don't even realize. The slavery of the mind is muddling of the mind by the surrounding atmosphere. The atmosphere is creating us rather than us trying to change the atmosphere. So we are not really creative. The atmosphere is creating us. And if it was just a natural atmosphere, I could understand that. But it's man-made atmosphere that's creating our own shape and size. So everybody else's ideas, everybody else's concepts are being thrown upon us. And instead of having our own concepts, we are accepting everything as it is just to blend in with the society, whether or organization, whether it's a Hinduism or Catholicism or Judaism or could be anything, American, Iranian, whatever names are given to us, we accept it. And then we live our life according to that. But meanwhile, our expression of our spontaneity gets buried deeper and deeper and deeper. So the idea is to understand the concept that there is a slavery going on and it's our own slavery. And we have to come out of it. That's the only time we're going to be able to enjoy life. Because whenever you try to follow the footsteps of other people, you're going to make mistakes and you're going to be condemned for it. You may do very well, but then somebody else might do better. And then you're going to compare yourself with somebody else. Oh, I have done this, he has done this. There's always a comparison because that's a dual life. As soon as you identify yourself with one organization, you are excluded from all the other organizations, and everybody else becomes somebody else for you, rather than you belonging to your own atmosphere, your organization. So there are compartments, and that's what mind likes. Mind loves compartments, because that's the only way ego can survive. Ego thrives on duality. That's why sunrise and sunset are two different things for us. Mind makes you believe that sunrise and sunset are two different things. Mind makes you believe that birth and death are two different things. They are not. It's the same continuum process that's going on. It's just that mind does not let you recognize that. So we become slave to the mind. And yet, mind is not something we hate either. Mind is a beautiful instrument. It's a new instrument in the chain of evolution that's given to us. So, starting from amoeba to the fish, to the tadpoles, to the higher livings, and finally coming to us, the latest instrument that's given to us in the path of evolution is our mind. But at the same time, it's an instrument that we have not really used it. Imagine just animals just prior to us, monkeys and chimpanzees, hardly had any intelligence to really work around with, let alone try to superfine it or polish it and use it to our best advantage. We have intellect, which is a refined version of the mind. The lower level of the mind is going to make us go back to the animal structure and getting tied with the objects of pleasure, this and that. But the intellect is a crystallized version of the mind. It makes us think straight. It makes us aware of what we're doing. So the higher the awareness, the mind starts getting more and more pure. So we have that instrument. It's almost like that elephant which is born has a trunk. Mm-hmm. It doesn't know how to use it until the muscles develop, and then it starts grabbing things and all that. Even while it's walking, it always keeps doing that. So it just doesn't know how to use that. Mm-hmm. So it's a new instrument given to us is the mind. We can't hate the mind, but at the same time we have to elevate the nature of the mind, and we have to find the corners of the mind which are more superfined, more refined, more crystallized. And then that is our way of synchronizing with the infinite. So we are the first animal on the face of the earth who is given that instrument. Instead of wasting it on the objects of the pleasure, we can sublimate ourselves to the higher level and reach to the infinite nature that we have. So that's the goal of the spirituality. And what happens is we get tied so much with our identifications that we keep on doing all the acts which conforms to those identifications. We never come out of it, and then ultimately the life is just wasted. Mullah Nasruddin was sleeping in he reached to one of the motels, Dharmshala, very late at night. All the rooms were taken. So the owner says that we have no rooms left. I can ask someone if somebody's single person is ready to take you in his room, then you'll be lucky. Otherwise, it was very late at night. He had no other place to go. So Mullah Nasruddin says, okay, if you can ask them. So finally, one person was ready to accept another person in his room. He says, okay, I don't mind, and I feel bad for the guy. So Mullah Nasruddin is trying to sleep now, and the other person is trying. There are two beds. So Mullah Nasruddin has his cap and everything, the clothes and shoes and everything, and he's trying to go to bed like that. So the guy was kind of wondering. I said, why is he doing that? But, it's not really nice to ask someone, whatever he's, But meanwhile, the other guy takes off his clothes and he's sleeping, But Mullah Nasruddin, he cannot sleep because all his clothes and shoes and everything on. He could not really sleep. So he's tossing and turning, and because he's tossing and turning, the other guy could not sleep either. So 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, so he said finally the guy could not handle it. So he says, Mullah, what are you doing? Can't you just take your clothes off, relax, at least you can fall asleep? Don't you know how to sleep properly? He said, Mullah Nasruddin, I know all these things. And if you were not here, I would take my clothes off and go to sleep. I wouldn't have any problem. But then, what's the big deal? I mean, we are just man, and why is you have a big deal? You go to sleep your own way, and I have no problem either. He says, yeah, but that's not the point. The point is, what if I wake up in the morning and I don't have my clothes on? How would I know that it's me is me? Versus you are you. The clothes are identifying myself. So the guy knew that the guy is a little wacky. So he says, no, let's do this. So he was trying to play a trick on him. He says, let's do this. Why don't you try? I want you to sleep. Tie a balloon. Try a balloon. So you go to sleep, take your clothes off, relax. But in the morning, at least when you wake up, the balloon will identify you that you are Mullah Nasruddin. That's a good idea. So let's both take our clothes off, go to sleep like that. And so in the morning, we won't have any problem identifying who is Mullah Nasruddin, right? So he wakes up in the morning. In the middle of the night, the guy wanted to play a trick. He took the balloon out and tied on his own foot, right? So now Mullah Nasruddin has a big problem. He wakes up in the morning. He says, oh my God, you tied the balloon, so you must be Mullah Nasruddin. What happened to me? Who am I? So it's a funny story, but has a very deep meaning. The meaning is that we identify ourselves with the surroundings, our clothings. We identify ourselves with whatever things are given to us. We are born and we are told, okay, your name is Shrenik, so we accept that. You are a Jain, so we accept that. You are a male, we accept that. All these things, one after another, are thrown at us. And we identify ourselves as that. We live our life, we fight for it. You say, okay, you are Muslim, you are a Hindu, so you are allowed to fight with Muslim and Hindu just because you were told. Right. So we are fighting, we identify ourselves with these stupid balloons. Right. And that is a shame because the whole life gets wasted in identifying ourselves. So the freedom, ultimate freedom will come only once we stop identifying ourselves with all the things which are thrown at us. Instead of us trying to rediscover our own self, if we keep on accepting everything from outside, this is the final outcome of our life, basically. So the thing is, when we want to be free from all these things, just the identifications alone is one purpose. One way how we really messing up and becoming a slave to the outside world. The another we talked about is also clinging to the past. We had talked about it in the past, but that one behavior that is also preventing us from moving ahead in life. And that robs us of our freedom. Like we just talked about, past is a hindrance in our synchronization with the consciousness which is present. The present is beautiful. The only time you can synchronize yourself with the present is you dancing at the speed of consciousness. Consciousness is continuously changing. Consciousness has nothing to do with the past. Consciousness does not keep what was in the past, what amoeba was born, what fish was born. Consciousness is continuously changing right in front of us. Molecules and the subatomic particles and atoms and everything, the conglomerate of all these particles are interacting with each other and trying to create all beautiful things right in front of us. And the speed at which it's creating, we're going to miss it. The only way you can understand that speed is only by living it. We talked about it, Nimish. There is no way you can comprehend with your senses how the consciousness is going through. So to be in synchronization with the consciousness, you need tremendous awareness. And that awareness cannot be interfered if we have luggage from the past. Right? So we are living a serial life. We gave an example earlier that we might have had a bad experience with, say, Muslim in the past. But now, if another Muslim comes in front of us, we're going to judge him based on our experience from the past. And that's wrong, because this guy may not have any problem. Right. And he may be the best Muslim that you can find. But we are judging him based on our experience in the past. That again, preventing us from synchronizing with the current status. The way you synchronize with the consciousness which is present is requiring your total attention to the present, where you totally integrate yourself in the present moment. Saying is easy than doing it. I was talking to Pradeep. He was listening to one of the tapes of Rajneesh. He says, how do you appreciate a flower? You look at the flower, you try to identify the name, whether it's rose or juhi or whatever flower. Okay, that's one way of looking at it. You smell it, you enjoy the fragrance, you look at the color, you appreciate the color, you touch it, it's so soft, you appreciate all these things is fine, but it's still, there is something missing. The only way you're gonna really enjoy the flower, you become the flower. You put yourself in the flower. When the breeze comes, you move with it. You spread the fragrance as if it's your own fragrance. You become soft, like a flower. So now you're exuding all the characteristics of a flower, even though you're not a flower. And that's the way to enjoy a flower. People are wearing yellow robes in Buddhism, red clothes of Hinduism, white clothes of Christianity. But are they yellow from inside? Are they white from inside? No. When you say you praying to Krishna, you bowing down to Krishna, you worshipping his statue, you playing like him, you act like him, whatever, you sing the glories, but you are not Krishna. When you want to praise Krishna, you become Krishna. That's the ultimate. How would a guru, what would a guru will expect from his sishya, his student? Student becomes a guru. Maybe more, but at least become guru himself. And then he can go even further. But the best guru dakshina you can give it to a guru is become guru. So try not to follow Jesus. What he said, what he didn't. You become Jesus. And that's the only way. And that's what the ras bhav. All the ras, the 9 ras have been described. Where the ras is like you put sugar, and in seconds the sugar spreads throughout the water. You check every content, every single inch of the water has the same amount of sugar in that. Yes. You blend with the reality. You blend, and that does not stop you just from enjoying a flower or a sun or something like that. People, same thing. Like I said, 85-year-old grandma comes, but you laugh with her. You enjoy your moments with her. You feel her pain. You feel her enjoyments. If she's describing her grandchildren, you become her. And you put yourself in their shoes. And then you see the life start singing. You're dancing with the consciousness. And that's the dance of life, you know. So, and when that happens, that is the only way it's going to happen if you're free from the luggage of the past. If I have my preconditioned mind when I'm seeing a person in front of me, those preconditionings of my mind is going to interfere with me synchronizing completely with that person. So that's why it's so important to be free. And the freedom will come only when we free ourselves from our own pasts. Yes, we made a lot of mistakes. Yes, we had a lot of wrong conceptions. But let's break all these things and come out of all the identifications, wrong
Guilt.
all the things which have been told to us and we have started accepting as if for real. Get rid of all the
Wrong
balloons
emotions.
that are tied to us.
So you get
Come
rid
out
of
of
the
all
guilt
these things.
also. You get rid of the guilt of the past.
Anything.
Yeah.
And the same problem like Rajneesh says, the karma theory, same problem, right? Oh, we've been told that, oh, you are suffering because you have so many karmas in the past and all that, and now you're going to have to do good things so that you can earn more karmas.
Accounting.
Where is the where is the pleasure? You still the same businessman that you did so much and so.
Right.
You're living the books,
Right.
and now the books have become spiritual.
Right.
That's all. There is no difference. But the inside, in your mind, business is still alive. You have never left your shop. In the shop you used to do that. Okay, this is how much I bought the merchandise for. This is how much profit I want to make. This is I want to sell it for the future. This is what customers may buy. You are in the past, you are in the present, and you are in the future. And all your life you've been doing it. Now you employ the same technique in the spirituality. Oh, this is how much karmas I have built up. I'm suffering because of that karma. Oh, I'm having good things because I must have done some. You are never free. Your mind is alive. Mind loves it. So karma theory falls apart when you really want to synchronize yourself with the consciousness. Doesn't matter. Whatever things you had done in the past, granted you had done it, but it was all done under the false illusion that you were so and so, you were so and so, you identify yourself with. So you were literally intoxicated by all those illusions. And when you are intoxicated, even the courts let you go. If you were drunk and you commit something, you slap on the wrist and you go. So even your acts which were committed, you don't have to be guilty about, because you are not the one who committed. Real you are somebody else. Real you is your own self. And the implications of this knowledge is so great that you can see that. I had one guy yesterday. This guy had been suffering with like almost 15, 10, 12 years of panic attacks, and comes and goes. Every 2-3 years he stopped by. But in between I know he's suffering. Now lately, last week, he ended up in the emergency room having chest pains, this and that. He went to the cardiologist, they checked out everything. Cardiologists, of course, want to do everything. Even though the guy knew that, he already been to emergency room, but they do the stress test and echocardiogram, checked out everything. No, it's all panic attacks and anxiety. And he comes to me, knowing that his family, whole family has been my way. They know that I can talk, spirituality. So he says, just teach me how to do meditation. I said, it's a big subject, but at least I can give you brief synopsis. And then I gave him the example that who is observing this pen, and then who is observing your body, who is observing your mind. So ultimately, the thing that cannot be observed anymore is you. If you are observing a pen and you are separate. But the same way, you are observing your body. So you and the body are two separate things. So who is observing your body? Maybe your mind. So okay, the mind is the observer. Body is being observed. But then who is observing your mind? When you say, I'm happy, I'm guilty, I'm panicking, whatever. Those are the moods, swings of the mind. Right. Who is doing that observation? Somebody is observing that.
Right.
So ultimately, you come to the point of just self, your soul, which cannot be observed. Because outside any process that's being done, you need the trichotomy. observer, the observation, and the thing which is being observed. So you need three things. So basically that's a play of duality. The mind makes you a body for now and makes you observe a pen. But then the same mind plays the game again, observes the body, and mind and the body become separate. So it's again the play of duality going on. And then ultimately the consciousness, yourself, is observing the whole thing. So I told him it's like a pyramid. It starts from the mind, body, and the society. The whole sansar, concept, the whole concept. And then I told him how to meditate, where you observe the sky and the birds are flying. You are identifying with each and every bird, each and every thought. But every thought is based on duality. But there is not a single thought that is based on non-duality. So the non-duality is the force behind it. I said, if you are reading a book and I pass by, I was in your vision range, but you didn't see me because your mind was occupied with the book. So you did not give a power of me passing by, so you didn't see me. Ultimately, the mind's power is fueled by the self, the soul. And that power, once it's given, we decide which thought should be in front of us. So we make that thought alive and keep thinking about it. But I said, if those birds which are flying in the sky, if you just don't give your power to those thoughts, the thoughts have no value. And then you see the sky. The sky does not need any power because it's just power by itself. So just a very short scenario I gave him. And implications are huge when we get involved with the duality. Is where it's a lot of suffering, a lot of anxieties. And I said, wherever you go, whether you are at your office, yes, I have a lot of stress at work. When I come home, my wife is pregnant. Then I have a lot of responsibilities to come up. I go see my parents are having this problem. I said, look, any circle that you're going through, wherever you go, what is the most common thing? You. I said, you go to the office, the stress is there. You come home, stress is there. You go see your parents, stress is there. So you, as a person, are the center of all these stressful activities. And if I tell you that that itself is fake, then where is the stress? The stress is built into all this complex mind, body, society complex. And when you come out of it, you're free of stress. Easier said than done, but it requires a little, practice.